3 years. Yeah, that's right, guys. It's been 3 years that this beautiful SUV has been part of our daily life. Thanks for watching, guys. It's the Honest Mechanic here, and we are going to be talking about our 2020 Volkswagen Tiguan and how it's been in the last 3 years since we purchased it. If you're new to the channel, I actually have a first original, like our first drive kind of video. I'll link that below. And in case you were wondering, what did we replace this with? Well, I'm going to put a shot of that down below as well. And we replaced our 2009 Subaru Forester, which was our beloved 2009 Subaru Forester. I got a lot of videos on that as well. Lots of repairs that had to happen there. Still in our life. I mean, our parents are still using that one. But let's get back to the Tiguan, what we like and what we don't like about it. One thing that's really kind of appealing to me is I like the styling. It is a little bit squarish compared to the first generation. By the way, this is the second generation. It is a 2020. Second generation came out in 2016, if I'm correct. First generation here in Canada was, I think, in late 2008, early 2009. And it was a little bit smaller, a little bit more rounded. But this is really nice because it is offered in a 7-passenger. We only have it set up as a 5-passenger vehicle, but there's a lot of interior benefits that come along with that, and we're going to talk about those a little bit later. But again, going back to the styling, I actually kind of like this bulging line here. Some people refer to it as like a love handle on the backside here, but I actually think it kind of breaks up this big flat panel that would be. So I really do like that, and I like also that it's got a slightly bigger wheel. What I mean by that is, being that it's an SUV, my daily driver has a really low profile tire, and I feel it down the road. These Giddy tires, which come stock for us in here in Canada, nice tire. It really rides really well. It's comfortable and it's quiet. We might go take a little drive and we'll show you that as well. So if you watched my first video, you would have talked, or I did talk about the space in the back here, and there was one thing I didn't like, which I'd point out, was the fact that there was no light. And actually, a viewer actually pointed out that there is a light, and it's actually right here. But it doesn't really do much, to be honest with you. So if you're working in here, if you're going camping and it's dark when you show up, it would be really nice to have a light here. That's one thing that we still miss. This light is nice in the sense that it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of where to put your feet, but it doesn't help with the cargo at all. One thing that I did notice, I'm not sure if I talked about it in the other video, but what I do really enjoy about this cargo space, it is large. This is nice as well if you want to keep some stuff covered up, but you can lower this, and obviously we store a lot of stuff down here as well. You never know what you're going to find out on the road, so we come prepared. But you can lower this entire cubby for taller items, which is also really nice. However, because I got so much stuff underneath, I can't show you. But you can kind of get the idea how much more depth you can get. It's only about 4 inches, but if you got a tall item in here, definitely something to consider. So obviously this video is based on us having it for 3 years and what I might have liked or what I don't like. One thing I don't like is it does not have a kick feature like some other SUVs have. My car has it, which is really convenient. You got your hands full, kick underneath, trunk opens, it's great. Maybe it's available in the R line. This is a comfort line, so it's something that I have to look into, but I would really enjoy seeing that feature. So moving right along into the interior, I do like the faux leather. That's something that's really held up really well, and it cleans up really nicely. Seats are comfortable even back here, and there's ample legroom. I mean, check this out. I mean, I'm not exactly the tallest guy. I'm about 5'10", 5'11" at best, and there is huge amounts of legroom back here, and you can actually recline the seats as well. You can pull on this little lanyard here, and you can kind of lay back a little bit, add a little bit more comfort to your drive if you're in the back. And something that I mentioned as well earlier is that 7-passenger feature. Well, here's one of the benefits. If you pull up on the bottom here, you can actually pull this up this far, still got some leg room, and you've just gained about 8 to 10 inches of space for your cargo. So as cool as that feature might be, some of the things that this Tiguan has that aren't so nice are, there's a bunch of downsides when it comes to the interior, in my opinion. We've already had to get the simplest thing repaired under warranty, which is the sunglass holder. The button actually just broke. I mean, how can you mess up a button? I don't know. So anyways, it has been repaired under warranty. The other thing that was also repaired at the same time was the clip here for your sunglass, or for your sun visor. I was driving along and I wanted to move the clip, and I'm going to be careful because I don't want to break it again. But I was just literally driving, pulled on this here, and it popped right out of the ceiling. So I was a little bit disappointed at that as well. And moving along to something I'm other disappointed with is right from day one, the driver's seat here, this cap has never really fit properly into the seat. Are these big issues? Absolutely not. Does it take away from the car, the drivability, and the way it actually does its daily duties? Absolutely not. However, if you're really finicky on these types of things, just a few things that I'm pointing out, I don't really see anything else as of yet, 3 years in. But otherwise, it's been really nice in here. The cabin is really quiet. Again, the materials, well, it's kind of plasticky. They are soft to the touch. But one thing I do really like, though, is the steering wheel. I like the shape of it. I think I might have said that earlier on in the previous video, but I really do like the shape of it. It's got some kind of like, almost like a egg shape, so that when you hug the steering wheel with your hand, it feels really nice. The power seat on this side, before we move along to the powertrain, the power seat is actually quite comfortable. You can adjust it. There's many adjustments available. One thing I would like to see, maybe again it's available on the R-Line, would be a memory seat. So something that you can set for at least 2 drivers, because right now, every time I take this vehicle, my wife's got longer legs than I do, and I'm always having to adjust the seat. And of course, it takes a little bit of time to get it right. So it'd be nice that you could just hit a button, have it set for you. I mean, first class problems, I guess. However, that's one thing I wouldn't mind seeing in the next one. Infotainment. So one thing that I talked about last time was this cable that goes in down all the way in the cubby here to connect your phone, and how it's a Type-C. Well, they actually they stayed with that, I believe, and the Type-C is still there in the newer models. If I highlight it with my flashlight here, they're kind of all the way tucked in the bottom. And this is the only way, at least for this one, this infotainment system, this is the only way to connect your phone to the infotainment. So if you want to use the maps, if you want to use your music from your phone, you have to connect your device through this. Nothing is done via Bluetooth or wirelessly, except for phone calls, and it doesn't actually even get text. That's another thing I really don't like, is it does not read out text or even receive text when you're driving. Phone calls only. Alright, as for the last one, like I'm mentioning the texting part, if there is someone out there who has the same one and knows how to receive the text, please comment down below. I would love to know how to do it, because I could not find anything in the owner's manual on how to do it, and even online. So it'd be nice if it's there, and maybe it is there. Maybe I just don't know how to get to it. Moving to the powertrain, this is a 2-liter turbo, single turbo, which produces about 185 horsepower, and I believe it's about 185 foot-pounds of torque as well. It's plenty of horsepower to get you moving, and actually, I tow a fairly large trailer with my 2 ATVs on the back. It's got a towing capacity I bought the hitch right from Volkswagen as well. It's got the towing capacity of about 2,500 pounds. It's plenty for what I'm doing. I'm not having to tow, like, you know, heavy equipment and stuff like that. Just my toys, right? So it does really fantastic at that. And just recently, if you guys have seen my post, we have talked about how the fuel economy in this thing is absolutely incredible. So we went back to back on 2 trips, about 500 kilometers each round trip. And on the first round, we ended up getting 6.8 liters per 100. What does that include? Like, what does that end up in miles per gallon? It's about 34 miles per gallon. Second trip, same area, same roads. I just checked the odometer. We went 530 kilometers round trip, and we got an incredible 6.3 liters per 100. That's 37 miles per gallon. And the trunk, we were gone for a weekend stay. So we were there for, 3 days or so, and we were packed. We had absolutely everything loaded right up to the gills. The whole trunk was full. So it's not like we were going there with nothing and the car was light. It was super loaded, all 4 of us in there, and it was incredible. It runs really well down the highway, and that's what I'd like to show you next. And here we go. One thing that I never did get used to is the start location for the button, which is a little bit weird, but it works. I'm so used to having it in the dash. Again, first world problems. Alright, so let's see what this thing does from kind of a rolling start here, and we'll listen to some mechanical noise. It's not a slouch, but I'm in comfort mode. Now, I should also note that when I did that last trip and the trip prior, whenever possible on the long highways, I was obviously in eco mode to try and maximize that fuel economy. But I would definitely take it out of eco mode if you need to pass someone quickly, because it's reluctant on downshifting. But as you can tell, we're in the cabin, we're doing the speed limit, and it's about 60 kilometers an hour here, so it's not fast. However, this is one of our rougher roads around, and it's still pretty quiet in here. It's comfortable, it absorbs the bumps pretty well. The next section is going to be even worse. But then again, going back to the modes, there's tons of modes if you want to play around with that in this thing. So you've got your sport mode, you've got your off-road, you got a customizable one, you got your eco, and then you even have a shifter. So it's an 8-speed transmission, and you can actually go ahead and shift it manually yourself, which is kind of fun, because if you can get it up into the RPM somewhere around 23, 25, and then just put her down, she likes to move. But one thing I did notice about this engine is it loves to rev. It doesn't normally when you're driving if you leave it in automatic. However, you get it up in the 3,000 to 4,000 RPM range, it's a lot of fun. You're definitely going to be using up more fuel than that, and as you can tell right now, this is kind of a bumpy road, but it does pretty good. I think it's more comfortable than my Mercedes, to be quite frank with you. Alright, so lucky for me, we just made our way over to the border of Mexico, so that's where we are now on a deserted road. We're just going to see what sport mode does after we fire it up here, because it's got the auto stop start, which is kind of great. However, so you guys ready? Here we go. So there you have it. It's not exactly a performance car, however, it does move along pretty good for its size. Alright, and now as we cruise back from Mexico back home, I want you guys to kind of take a quick look here after we climb this hill to our RPM gauge, because we're sitting in eco mode right now, and I always find it really interesting to see how little RPM this engine takes to keep itself moving. So if you notice, we're doing 64 kilometers an hour, and we're just over 1,000 RPM, and we're still going up a slight incline. This thing really does love to lug. Like, it really lugs down low, lots of torque, and it will stay there, and it's reluctant. So if I hammer it right now, it takes quite a bit of time to get itself out of gear in eco. Not the same situation if you're driving it in normal or sport, obviously, but in eco, if you really have to get out of the way, you really got to hammer it. If you kind of putz around, it'll just stay in that highest possible gear. It's beautiful. Alright, what's my verdict after 3 years of ownership? Would I buy it again? Would I recommend it to other people? I think yes, because if you take away some of the bad stuff I mentioned, there's a lot of positive things in this vehicle. And it is a perfect daily driver for moving people around, your kids. It's spacious, it's comfortable, fuel efficient. Well, that took a little while to say. Yes, it's very fuel efficient, and you can still tow everything you need for, you know, your daily trips or your weekend trips with your boat, your ATVs, your snowmobiles, all that kind of stuff. So yes, I would definitely recommend it to somebody who's looking for something of this size. But that just about does it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and most importantly, I hope you guys have a good day. I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. It's fuel economy. It's fuel efficient. Well, that took a little while to say. Yes.